In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Sigma bot by Mr. Ahmed Furkan. Stick around to the end to see if this is a real trading robot or just a martingale which will blow your account. This video is sponsored by Prosperity Algo and our free Golden Time Bomb Expert Advisor. Do you want to make 100+% annual returns through automating the London breakout and the opening range breakout? Then click the link in the description. So I was quite interested to take a look at this bot because it had, so far, really good reviews of exclusively 5 stars. And there's quite a few purchases per month, given the $500 price point. So I thought that was quite an interesting thing to take a look at. Going through the description here, we can see that the developer speaks to how he came up to developing this bot. And he discusses that he initially started off in crypto, and effectively he then moved over to Forex to be able to take advantage of perhaps some more diversified markets too. He said he spent over 2 years optimizing his strategy, and he deployed his EA in 2019, and since then he's been optimizing on almost a daily basis. And okay, that's probably don't want to re-optimize your EA daily, but at least it shows that he appears to be pretty committed to continuous improvement, which is always a good thing. And in terms of the actual strategy, he mentions that it's based on placing pending orders and is based on market structure. So very valid strategy. It could be based at simply placing pending orders in zones, particularly for gold and even GBP USD. This can be a very solid strategy. So it makes sense that he'd be using something like this. And also it says that you have to be really careful to not change the settings or the time frames as you want to be able to let the strategy play out and do what it's supposed to do. So that's all rather interesting. And effectively here he gives us a few interesting parameters in terms of you're able to choose to use a pending order or more of a market order. And a good sign is he's also telling us to use every tick based on real ticks. So not a ton of information here, and he's not providing us with a live signal either, but I venture that he's just placing pending orders in zones and trading breakouts of those zones. And if we clip through some of these different photos as well, there's not a ton of information that he's giving us, but so far people have been saying very good things. Now let me pull up MetaTrader, where I've taken the liberty of running a quick back test with this. And as you guys can see, it actually blew the account in September of last year. And it was doing something with martingale or some sort of lot scaling. So let's actually go and maybe zoom into an M5 time frame here, just to see a bit more in detail what this thing was doing. The issue here is it blew it relatively quickly. So let me go back to the H1. We will need to go back quite far to actually see some trades. Here we go. And put it now on the M5. Oh, crap, okay. It's now taking me all the way back. Let me just put in to 2024. Okay. MetaTrader is not behaving well today. Bear with me here for 2 seconds, guys. And here we go. Okay, back to the M5. And it does appear to be trading kind of a whole different basket of different trading strategies. Like some of them are mean reverting in nature, so likely based on some sort of oscillator, whereas other ones appear to be almost more breakout based. So he could be using zones, but from what I can see so far, it's kind of a weird trading strategy. There's also some element of like scaling here, where essentially it opens more positions as price goes against it. And I venture if we go into the backtest tab and look at the deals, we can see that there's enormous amounts of lot scaling. Like this is insane. Like here it blew, but we can see that like it's scaling anywhere from 0.06 to 0.49, which is just like very, very aggressive lot scaling. It's even scaling with like 1.85 lots here, which is crazy. Like this doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. So like we're seeing, yeah, like more of a mean reverting premise. So mean reverting with some sort of lot scaling martingale, it appears like a fairly poorly developed bot to me. Honestly, like you should never, it's very rare that you should use a grid martingale on gold. And yeah, like there's a lot of things wrong with this bot. Let me just fast forward here. So it's using zones at least. So it appears to be more price action based. There are pending orders, there are zones, but he's still trying to use pending orders and zones, a bunch of them, with lot scaling and with some sort of mean reversion premise. So I think he's looking for essentially when price leaves a zone, maybe a fair value gap. So interesting idea. He's definitely creative. He's not just using a Bollinger Band, but I would be a little bit hesitant to run this type of strategy on gold. And because he's using aggressive lot scaling, I don't think it's really working super well for him. These might be fair value gaps, honestly. Like I think he's looking for fair value gaps, some which are bullish or bearish, some of which are more breakout or he's looking for pullbacks into fair value gaps, and then I think going long or short. So very creative strategy. I'll give him that. But very, very aggressive lot size and lot scaling. But there's no manipulation going on here. Like he seems to be being fairly honest. And if we were to pick a different period, we might actually see very good results. So I still wouldn't recommend it, but it's more interesting than I initially thought. Pardon me. What's up with my computers today? And let's just pick a 6-month period here and just run it to see what would happen if we didn't actually blow the account. So in the event that you don't hit a run of losers, it actually works rather well because you're able to here in 6 months turn 10K into 15K. However, you have these pretty big drops in the equity curve. And if you just had a couple more trades which went against you, you would rapidly blow. So strategy is actually rather interesting in that he's using, it looks like fair value gaps, and he's looking for essentially for price to create a fair value gap, pull back into the fair value gap, and then enter using pending orders, which is quite neat and is a real strategy. So that's quite promising to see. However, both his lot scaling and the fact that he's using a martingale on gold are both making me a little bit reticent, and I think he hasn't really thought that through in 100% yet. So there is actually a pretty decent foundation here, but I would say the bot needs a lot of work to be something which one could actually trade live, just because the risk is way too high. Particularly martingale in gold is not a match made in heaven. Quite often it does not work at all. So to summarize, I would personally stay away from this bot, but I do think that if the developer takes some time to make some additional improvements, it could be actually interesting on the next version. Guys, please leave me a comment and have yourselves a great day. Take care.